Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm very sorry for that. I did not know I had mistaken the way I should have connected it. So without missing much of our time, let me get into it. Hope you see my- Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
Okay. So about creating a virtual machine with Azure. So Azure is a popular DevOps platform, and the interns that completed stage C successfully should have had an experience with it, even if they are not really familiar. I think for the continuous delivery tasks, you get asked to use Azure to deploy one continuous delivery. So a virtual machine is basically you having another machine on the cloud. What I mean by another machine is when you have, imagine having a second system, but your second system is not with you physically. Exactly. So the second system, by system I mean a laptop or a desktop computer or a PC. Your second system is in a remote location, a location that are not there physically, but you have access to that desktop PC, and you're able to perform actions on that PC as if you were there physically. That's the basic laydown of what a virtual so a virtual machine is just a way for you to have another resource where you can perform computer operations. So I'm going to showcase two ways for which you can create a virtual machine on Azure. I'm first to use the the um, the visual graphic platform that you can use to communicate with your Azure platform, where you can configure resources and create resources. While the other one I'm going to be working with is Ansible, and also the DevOps student of the last court, sorry, of the last stage should also be familiar with what we mean by Ansible. Is a command line platform for which we can use to what create and deploy resources to devs platform. So we don't see much of our time. The first thing I would do here is to create a resource group. So what a resource group is, a resource group all our name like resource to make that every resource we are going to create. So I mean to use something like let me say material. So it sort of helps us so that every is getting localized. That means the central point where every material is. So the name is so first thing we do is we create resource, and every subsequent resource that we have been creating be added to the resource. Okay, so we're going to create a resource group. That's the first thing. Okay, so I'm going to name my resource group. I'm going to name it the demo RG. So you can name it anything you want to. It's just a way for you to be able to uniquely identify resource. So I named my resource group demo RG as just subscription because the platform and use for Azure and other DevOps platform and other practitioners, they are not free. So the subscription one is subscription to the Azure DevOps, and every you can have more than one subscription. Let's say, for example, you want one subscription to be able to access something, another subscription for another particular workflow and all. So you can have multiple subscriptions for which you can decide to select which resource you want to place on that subscription. So I'm going to create the demo RG for resource group demo, and I'm going to create this. That's the first step, creating the resource group. So the next thing I'm trying to create a the virtual network enables you to be able to configure resources in, let me just use a configure resources in a resource group to communicate with one another. For example, we all know the internet is what we are all using to communicate with each other. So what a virtual network does is it allows you to create a platform for different resources that you have created to be able to what communicate with one another through a private channel which you to create a virtual network. I'll come here and then search for what virtual network. So, so wait, is just from into so we create a virtual network, and this virtual network is what every for the resource group created. The virtual network is every other resource I'm going to create for resource group to use to what communicate with each other. That is what makes them aware of the fact that we all belong to a single body, and pass information, pass files, and pass different view. Virtual network. Exactly. So I'm going to create a network. In time. Um, So while I wait for this to load, is there any question? Say how it to come. Okay. All right, so in I continue. So this is also the same as when we were creating the resource group. This is the subscription to which we are creating it. And then we want to what select, as I have said, a resource group is a collection of resources that share what the same life cycle, the same permission policy. So now I will select the what demo RG which I just created here. I want the name of the network to be what the demo virtual network, demo VN. So the naming convention is also quite important because with the way you the way you name resources, it also helps you to be able to identify them easily. Imagine when you use random names for different resources that belong to the same network group. Let's say in a scenario where you want to navigate to a particular network, it might be cumbersome for you to start looking for what particular network group it belongs to and things like that. But when you stick to a particular naming convention, it makes it easier for you to know what you want to do and which resource group you are talking about. So that's basically all. Okay, I'll go to the IP addresses, and the default options are actually quite okay because this is just for showcasing and for the sake of this session. When you are in a production environment, when you are in a work environment, you have specific IP addresses that you want to give access to your virtual network. You don't want just anyone to be able to access your virtual network that is not allowed. So that is where security comes into play, where you specify your IP addresses and all. But the default IP address, this is um provided for things like status quo. So this default IP address means that any IP address that is was access the network, and there's also a default subnet. So a default subnet has been added to it. The default subnet is also in the range of what this 24. So a subnet is what like a you have a virtual network which is the full set, and then you have a subset of the virtual network. So this is what only specified a another area of the network that only specified IP addresses can access. So this come into play. This become important when you have let's say you have some actions that you want some privileged people to perform. Let's say an admin, for example. So you have a specific IP address for the admin that can only access that particular subnet, while every other person, the users and random users, can access the superset, but won't be able to have access to the subnet that you have specified. So we just go next to security, and the basics are okay. The basics are okay, and we wait for this to complete, and then we just we create the network, and then create. So but I think this making how this being very respectful. So okay, I think and the next thing to do now is to confirm the public IP address as the name implies. So we use address to give our virtual network a way for it to communicate to networks that are outside that environment. So it's a public IP address that the public IP address is now for the virtual network. Every system and all have their own IP address for which they will use to connect to it. Now we need what an IP address that is for the virtual network for when it also wants to what perform actions for which it needs to connect. And the public IP address is also what we shall what we can able to use to what access the virtual network from a remote location. So I'm going to search for the service that we need, and that's the public IP address. You can see it here, the public IP address. So just because I still want to show how easy it will be to create all this when you are using a specified framework line to create it. You can see at least we have spent up to like is not let's say about 15 minutes trying to create all of this, and we are still not done yet. And now I'm going to create the public address. Says that don't see said can two So this is here already. So what do we want to name the address? We name it what? Demo public IP. Alright, so it has a static, and these basically just functions are actually everything that you need. You don't need to create IPv6 unless in external case like extreme cases. An IPv4 is enough for almost everything that you want to do. This is the public IP address. The network is under what Azure solution. You can see that we also have to select what resource group is DemoRG that has been created. The location, availability, default options are okay, and then we create our public IP address. So the next thing to create now is so what is that it allows you to um, check for connection that will be able to what will be able to occur in your resource, able to like, at least perform preliminary checks. It controls the traffic, is allowed to what, connect and leave the resource. So your security group is what you use to configure as the name has implied, and I've said it overly already. So the security group is just what you use to just to configure security for your resource and that resource group. So unauthorized connections will not be able to occur because your security group is there to what block unauthorized connections to your security group. This just confirm that so it has been successfully deployed. So that's the third thing that we've created. So now I'm going to start with what security group. Oh, it's here already. So these are because they are in my preparation for this session, I had like used the services already. So the next thing I'm creating is the security group. And that's now going to be having some groups in security, but you already put this through which is the connection now for it to qualify. Just even if you have been put this connection locked and be able to have connection or have access to that security to that resource. So let me create to make it that advanced traffic into the resource out of so like you see that every time you are trying to create anything to specify what the resource group which is what which it belongs to. So the resource groups put everything as one and then you are able to give everything the same give everything some set of permissions when you want to control them. You are able to what it's easy for you to access everything that you have created instead of having to access one of them each of them one by one to make some changes and configure some parameters. So I'm going to name this what my demo um NSG for demo network security. I don't need to check the tags. I'm just going to review and create it. Like you so the security group to be able to set the rule for which you want to set. So you will want you are just to set up one rule which is an inbound rule for SSH connection. SSH so SSH is the that will enable you to remove that you have is the that to the people. Yes, it is search for secure so it's the forming of the secure and it is a trap so that is the hypertext is also able to connect to website and also SSH is a secure shell protocol for is secure and is very popular for connecting and for creating connections with resources. So as you can see, we have our one of the network group has created what some demo. It has created some inbound security rules. You can see inbound security, you can see outbound security rules. So let's just go to the inbound security rules and that's create a TCP protocol for the inbound rules to search into it is used to allow us to be able to what SSH into our SSH into our network we have just created. As you can see, this one has been given a deny action. So any network that is what that is inbound, all inbound net. So as this with this rule that is created now, any inbound network to our network group, to this network group, any so as an assigned this network group, any inbound security, any inbound connection that is being trying to be made to it will be what will be denied. The only ones that are allowed are what the Azure load balancer. Why? Because it was Azure itself. And the virtual network itself is what we have designed this network group for. So those are the only two that are allowed inbound action. So any other inbound action that is not from this will be denied. So for us to what SSH into it, we have to what add our own inbound rule that will be able to allow us to what that will be able to allow us to what make an inbound connection into this. So the source is any. So the port range, we're just going to give it a port range of 22. Port range, what does port range mean? Provide a single port such as 80. That's if you want a single port. If you want a port range such as this or a comma separated this when you provide asterisk, what do? You allow what every inbound. So when you allow asterisk, you have now what negated the previous rule that we saw that denied all inbound network. Now you allowed what every network to be able to what SSH into our into our network group. So the destination is any as usual. The destination port ranges is also 22. I think I can leave this one as an asterisk. Sorry. And then I want it to be a what a TCP protocol, and I want it to what allow. So for priority just let me just use this here. The rules are processed in exactly order of priority, so it gives you the credence for which it will decide to go with this rule over the other rule. Remember, there's a rule that deny all inbound network. So for this rule to come into play, we need a rule that is what that is able to supersede the previous rule. So we recommend leaving gaps between rule. With this, I'll just set this to 1001 because I actually don't want any inbound rule. I just want what to be able to SSH into my to be SSH into the virtual network. So I'll name it what demo rule. I'll name it what the demo rule. I can just add SSH behind it and then I'll add it. So see, it is giving me a flag. I should be able to see what that flag is. And because of the fact that we what this will still showcase another this icon that is here and to tell us that the reason why it's going to us is because we have allowed any network to be able to into allowed any network to be able network security, which according to Azure is not what is not optimal. For security, you should only have what you should only allow things that are resourced by you, things that are created by you, or network that needs to access the group to be able to have what allow action. Any other one that has an allow action is that's what is for. So we have created the rule, and the thing to do now is to create the virtual machine proper. Now go to virtual machine. So there's no virtual machine now. To create a virtual machine, there are different various forms of virtual machine that you can create. I'm just going to go with a virtual machine that is hosted by Azure. Is that already? Let's see what that question. Just hesitate to ask me. Okay, for season chats. It was 35. How have I been? Sorry. So we decided for the night just to get confirmation like I thought I was being possible. Okay. So, so now and as usual, subscription one, as usual, we're selecting this to be what part of the resource group that we just created, and doing this to what movie demo machine. The region is US, LD is a standard, Ubuntu is the image. So Ubuntu is synonymous to you saying you want Microsoft Windows 10 or something to be able to Ubuntu is Windows Server, Windows 10 Pro version. So you can just the OS. That's what the operating system that is going to be on the machine. Remember, I said it is like what you have a second PC in another location. So on your PC, we have decided that we want the Ubuntu operating system to be there. You can decide to want the Windows 10 depending on whatever it is that you want. And also what the size of the disk, because there's no PC that does not need the what an hard disk for it to store files and all. So you can decide on whatever you want to use it for. You can decide on I chose this because it is the least expensive option there. So when you are using cloud practitioner, when you are using platforms like this, you have to be mindful of whatever you choose because cost is automatic. You pay automatically. You don't ask you for some they don't need to ask you for let me see if don't want to disrupt this connection. But I hope you guys can see me even in this location. Let me just confirm with the team if it is better now. I apologize for this. For like a while now, it has been like this in Ife. I think the location is getting worse each day. So while that is going on, let me just continue with this, and I really hope you guys can hear me. And
Yes, we can hear
continue
you.
with this. All right then. So This I was here the operating system for the virtual machine that you are creating. So after creating the operating system, these are nitty-gritties, these are peculiarities for the type of operating system that you want. We have different machine architecture. So basically most people use this. This is just used by a specific set of people based on what task they want to perform. And then this is the size. So as I was saying that billing, paying, and paying for services is automatic. So you have to be careful of whatever it is you are selecting, and you have to make sure that you always clean up resources, because any resource that you leave unchecked, maybe after you are done with a specific after you're done with a specific task, you forget to clean up your resources, you'll be billed for that resource automatically. Imagine, for example, I forget to clean up after if I forget to clean up after everything that we are doing now, I will have issue for this bill. This bill here will what happen automatically. This $3.8 per month will happen automatically. So you have to be what? You have to be careful of whatever it is you are selecting and be mindful of whatever it is you are doing. And then what administrative account? Administrative account is what the account for which you'll be able to use to what log into your virtual machine. Just like you have a user account on your current system, is what helps you to be able to what log into the new account you want to create. Remember, I was saying something about we SSH in, forgive my term, that's how we say it, SSH in into the virtual machine. So the account that you are going to SSH into, the account that will be logged into the virtual machine is the administrator account. So instead of a password, we want to SSH public key, and we want a new key pair. So we are going to name the key pair demo VM on key. I decide to name any other, I like this and I can go with them. So the inbound count, you see 22. Remember, this is the 22 we specified when we were creating our what? Our inbound rule to accept. So whenever we SSH into, we are going to land on the what? The port 22 of the virtual machine. So we are going to the disks. I don't know if and you can skip every there because you don't really need much of them. The only other place that's very important is the networking. For viewing purpose, so I won't really spend much time on this. And then so networking is what allows us to configure the network group, the network security group that we have created, the virtual network. We're going to assign them to this virtual machine. So therefore, everything that we have assigned to the virtual network, the VN has been selected. Why? Because demo VN was also selected for our resource group. Demo VN is the virtual network of the resource group. So automatically every resource of that resource group should what use the demo VN virtual network. The subnet was also created with demo VN, if you remember correctly. We have a public IP. Remember, we also created a public IP called what the demo VM IP. So now you begin to see the connection with every to actually try to in the end. And this is just to create one virtual machine. To create another virtual machine, all of this, let's say another virtual machine in another resource group, all of these steps will have to be what? Will have to be what? Start again. So balancing, I think this is basically everything. And then we just go to what? I'll just go to really plus create to skip all that. So I just had to go through this method to create machine. So let's see the beauty of what DevOps tools can give us, because this is I say maximum 12. I spent at least 9 minutes trying to just configure one virtual machine. Okay, let's say my network is running was take it 10 minutes, at least 29 minutes to configure just for that is enough for a development environment. You have to configure many things, you have many things that you want to create, you have many tasks to complete. Spending so much time on configuring just one resource is actually the solution. So we have to do what we have to be smart about working and to be able to complete tasks in better time so we can have time to even do other things also. Okay, so it has come up now. Ooh, validation passed. This is basically see, remember the time I said we had a warning. You have set SSH ports open to the internet. This is only recommended for testing, blah blah blah. So in a production environment, the step that I did where I specified a port to allow any inbound rule, that must not be done because we open our what we make our system vulnerable, make our network vulnerable. The essence of the network itself has been what has been beaten because there's no security and anybody that just has the key or that is able to generate a key that can log in will be able to what access our virtual machine. So this is just sorry everything that run now. Just click the create button and proceed further. So basically we are done with creating a virtual machine with as and I plan on just showing us the best of using which is also very probably an accent one but even I'm just saying just in case I just want this to okay so now we generate new key pair. So it is the key pair you can only download this once. Once you download this, once the virtual machine has been created, you can never leave unless you get a new one. So that you very very closely or or you make sure that you make sure that you don't lose what in any case if you lose it you can check the key there so accessing your net. So I'm not going to be sharing SSH into the because I might do that just there's any question can be asked now to answer away it's a question to get what anything I've just asked sketchy, anything that you just don't understand, you can just copy that so and add it on it. So done already and virtual machine is a virtual machine on the cloud already where you can perform every operation you can perform in your system and perform it on the machine that is in the cloud. Yes, now, so we have our then exactly But just to showcase everything that we have created now, I'll go to what resource groups. Exactly. So you can see now what's demo RG, the resource group that we just created. Going into demo RG, we'll be able to see what which provision everything will be able to instead of it every resource that was created that was here. See here, so that's 9 records. I keep going down. See the demo network security IP, blah blah blah. That's that and that. I will clean up my resources later. So now to use the Cloud Shell platform. So with this, I'll just give an overview of this because it's something that is mine and anyone wants to learn more about it can do that on their own. So Azure. So the first thing to do when you are using this is to what? You need to first create your key pair. Let me close this. This everything that I'm saying here, you can find it in documentation of both Azure, documentation of Ansible. Is just like the way for you to what? The way for you to be able to a way for you to be able to what? Implement things that normally should take longer time, but using platforms like this, it makes it what easier, faster, and better, and also more secure for you to do it. So this is this. I will press enter. See now, which was the key pair that was we down there previously. If you can remember correctly, that I said you can see only one. So with this one now, you have your access to your key pair every time. You're the one that is specifying where to be saved to and stuff like that. So I'm going to call it SSH key. A passphrase. I don't want any passphrase. I don't want any passphrase. And so this is the what the SSH, the key fingerprint, the SHA. So I'm going to copy this and then I'm going to what? I'm not going to be typing it from from the scratch. I'm just going to like showcasing you something that I've typed before when I was. So this is the playbook. So I'm sure you guys the DevOps also performed the last session also know what it is. It was part of the materials of the state. I'm just going to be going through it. You can see different in a playbook you got what tasks you want to complete, and under each task you have what you have a series of properties for each task. These are another task I want to complete. These are another tasks I want to complete like that. So starting from the beginning, the name of this playbook is what? Create Azure VM. So the essence of the playbook, that's the name. You can see that every other thing is in there to create an Azure VM. The host is localhost, connection is local. All these are just these are things that you find in documentation when you're doing. So our is to what? Create a resource group. Remember we created a resource group. So our name, um the keyword for that is the Azure underscore RM resource group. If you want to use AWS, I think you start AWS underscore RM or something. So for each cloud provider, they have their specific ways for you to what use tools like this to provision cloud resources. Those are things that you may not know everything of it, but there's a lengthy documentation. You just need to know what you want to do and how to go about it. So the name of the resource will be my resource group. The location will be in US as usual. We have a virtual network. The name is my VNet, blah blah blah, and all like that. The place that we're going to edit is so you have a public IP. Remember, we created the public IP. The public IP is this. So we are going to need this output of the public IP because the output of the public IP is what we are about to access into the virtual machine. We also created a security rule. Security group. Remember, we created a rule. The name of the rule is SSH protocol tip CP. Sorry, default range. You allow this and priority also is also an inbound rule. This is basically everything that we're doing. What we had to go to a specific resource tab. We had to do this. We had to click that. Everything we are just what typing it in one file here, and that's so the virtual network interface card. We see this in the portal. It wasn't even necessary because there's a default interface card, but it is always when you are using source like it's always good to have your interface card. Your interface card is also a subset of your virtual network for which you use to what control the interface. It's just we call it interface. So it's like you setting blueprints for how you want your virtual machine to what connect. So you can see the last part, which is what creates VM. So create the VM, create my resource group. The name of the VM is my VM. We want the size. Remember, I specified the size that time. I'm also specifying the same size here. Admin user, just like the last time. The password, I don't want the password. I want a what an SSH key. Remember, I copied the SSH key, so I will need to edit this here and change it to what the SSH key. So when I copy this here, you get this is the SSH key. It will also be saved on the what on the virtual machine. It will be saved on the virtual machine and it will help me to be able to access the virtual machine. So when I want to access it into the virtual machine, it has to be what this key. So it will check this key in respect to what it has on its own saved key, and if they are similar, then it will what allow me to access it. And then the image, that's the operating system. So remember we specified Ubuntu. If you want Windows, you can specify Windows. There's a way to get a list of images that is in Azure RM and image list. You can get a list of it lists the correct image that you can use when you are running things like this. So that's basically everything that is here. So with this saved, I have to save because I've edited the SSH key. So with this saved, I will come here and I will do what? I will write the key for me to apply the playbook. So to apply the playbook, I just need to do what? ANSIB and see that it has highlighted it for me. Why? Because I have done that before. So ANSI is the name of the platform you are using. The playbook, this is how to. It's just like you running Python or something or running what other command line there is or CD. All those command line tools, they are what status code that you have to use. So everything can be found on the documentation online. So with this, once I type this and click enter, each of the tasks that are produced start running, and now you begin to see the difference in how fast this is. So this is what gathering facts. Okay, the creation of the resource group is what it's doing now. So that's the creation of the resource group done. The creation of the virtual network is the next step now, which is being performed. Mhm. That is done also. Then the subnet of the virtual network, the subnet of the virtual network, that was done defaultly when we were using the portal, but we have to do it what manually here. So the virtual network will have a subnet, and that is what is being run now. And this should be done also. The network is actually what is making it slower. When I was practicing and preparing for the session, this was done under like very few minutes. I just applied the playbook and boom, I was done. But still, I was for this to complete. So while that is going on, is there any question or anything that is not clear that needs to be asked to walk through? The subnet has been created also. The public IP address for us to what connect into the virtual machine is also being created at the moment. That's also remember the public address. So this is the public address of the what virtual network. I'll copy it to be able to access. Remember the last time we created it, so we can go and check. But with this, to what use echo, we echoed it out that this is the public address. So anytime you want to log into it, you just need this public address. So it is creating the network security group also. Now this is done. What is it doing next? It is creating the network interface card. That is done. And now the virtual machine is also being created. And this is the last step. Once this is done, you are done with the creation of the virtual machine. And oh, I see, is invalid. The value parameter. Let me just check this again. This is the key. Okay. Oh, I see. There should be no difference actually. What's the cause of this? Table. So what is happening? Let me come back here. Don't think there's any difference. Oh, I see. So I think that been the error. So let me just come back here. If I come back here to the resource group, sorry for that error. But if I come back here to the resource group, for you to see that everything that I'm doing, my resource group should be here. See my resource group. You'll be able to see that what everything that we are positioned that was at least started that 10 minutes were the VM activated successfully. That should have been the end of everything. this is no deployment. Okay, now you can see my network security group, my NIC, my public IP, my VM, and they're missing it was my machine. Why? Because I had an error. So just this to delete this, I need to type my source group. Easy and fast. That was too fast, exactly. So I'll just copy it from here instead of me having to type it again. That's not working. So now I can it will take some minutes to delete, but it shouldn't take all that long. The bad network is why is so just come here. So wait for when it's get here. Just start process down here again. So now I have to like save this. Confirm one more time that I copied the correct key. Key. The public. Okay, and that is correct. Let me confirm if this is gone there. Switch is still there. Is it deleted? So instead of let me just change the name of the resources here so that I won't have to wait for that, but that will be just my some our time to exactly. So I'm just going to press enter and this should start going through. So I hope it is faster this time around. Network is being created. Exactly, the subnet is being added. Exactly, the subnet was even added faster this time. Why? I think the network decided to network decided to be around the virtual network interface. You see how fast this is going now when you have a good connection. So that's what I was trying to showcase the beauty with which and provision is so fast when you are using dedicated clouds up to such as this. So the virtual machine is being created and hopefully I should have no error this time around. Ooh. So you can start taking them now because I know our time is fast spent and we're taking 14 minutes over time. But once this is done and we are good to go, I won't even try to go to the virtual machine, though that's actually very, very easy. And so that's okay. This is like a basic view of things. When you say cloud, what does it mean? It is basically what we do in the cloud. You provision resources, you have tools. So exactly that is done. So we can just come here. We come to our resource group. Let me just close this here. If I come to our resource group and refresh, be able to view virtual machine now. So what's what doing is what doing well. So I will just try to SSH into the um virtual machine. Let me paste this here. But the resource groups, what's happening? So if I refresh this now, you can see my resource group was created. You go to so what is everything? Is there any question? Is there anything that's not any verification on? So that's that, and we end the session. I'm so sorry for taking that. But if we come down and the VM, the virtual machine, which I called what my VM is now created under my resource group. And this was done in what way lesser time than when we were provisioning everything ourselves. To just showcase what I mean by making an SSH into the stuff, I'll just come here and I'll copy this public IP here. So I'll copy this and then I'll come back here down. I first have to change this to what playbook. So this should be PLAYBO. Okay. No, sorry, not playbook. What did I name our SSH by? I think I named it SSH key. Exactly. And then the IP address. I'll just copy that here, paste. So this is our IP address. So once I press enter into this, you see currently I'm on PowerShell home or Olabi. That is my name and the name of my account. But if this is successful, this should change. And then you see that the location I am now will change from this PowerShell and I will change into the bash. Bash is like the equivalent of PowerShell or command prompt on Linux or Ubuntu, Linux and Ubuntu. And I'll change into the bash of the bash successfully. And then when I change into the bash of the virtual machine, I can begin to do what? Any task I complete further afterward is being done with on the virtual machine that we have created, not on this anymore. So that is what I mean by when I say we what SSH into or when we connect into the virtual machine. So SSH is the key. Azure you remember is the admin password. So this is the public IP. This is how to what provision a public IP for. Oh, I see. This should not work because I think I copied the public IP for the previous deployment. So this is actually our public IP here. That is why it is taking this much time because the public IP is wrong. So it should give me an error soon. that the connection is not allowed. Once it verifies that the IP that I'm using is what is wrong, so it should tell me that there's no allowed or that it can be found or something related to that. But that's basically everything about John. And is there any question, any addition, anything that anybody would like to add? All right, since the chat box is empty and there's no question, then I think with that I can successfully end this session. I apologize once more for taking 20 more minutes of our time. It was, I hope it was an enjoyable session, and thank you everybody and good afternoon.